So the last tutorial, we just talked about gain staging, noise floor, and optimal recording levels. And now we are going to talk about creating channel strips. Okay? This is kind of a part 2 to the previous tutorial. The term channel strip is based off any mixer. Do I have a mixer? Let me go grab a mixer. Okay, I'm back. So here is a basic mixer, right? And the channel strip are these channels: mic input number 1, mic input number 2, number 3, number 4, and so on. These are channel strips that take a stereo 1/4 inch input. So the channel strip, I know this is basic stuff, but we're going to go here. So the channel strip first starts with a gain knob. And now Ableton, the channel strip starts on the left side. That's the signal flow. It goes from the left to the right. So every single channel strip starts with a gain knob. It's very important to get your gain, which is your gain staging, which is your optimal input level, right? The next, on this channel strip, immediately goes to the high, mid, and low. And then you have your aux input, which is down there. It's the return track in Ableton. And you got your pan knob, right? And then you have your fader. This is your fader. In this case, on this mixer, it's a knob, but this is your main fader. So gain and fader is different. So this is for your input, right? The gain knob, or the utility in Ableton, is for your input gain. Now the fader, or in this case the knob, is for your output gain, okay? All right. Here is the snare in a multi-tracked drum session. This is the drum session. We were working on this kick, and it's, there we go. Okay, so this is a multi-track drum session. Here is the group of the snare. The snare 1 is right here. That's the snare top. That's a 57 on the top of that snare. Sounds pretty decent. The bottom. So you can hear the snare. There's much more snare wire. It's called a snare strainer, and it's just a little pieces of curved metal that create a buzzing sound, and that's what a snare is. It's a regular top of a drum, regular drum head, and a snare wire underneath. And if you didn't have that snare wire, it would just be considered a regular tom. So with that snare strainer, it's considered a snare. All right, so this is gain staging. This is channel stripping. So we first start with a utility, right? And then in that mixer, it goes straight to the EQ, right? But in this case, I wanted to put a gate and to clean up the sound. Otherwise, it sounds like this. Right? Lots of bleed. And now with the gate on, way better. We can hear that snare come through. And now there is the EQ section. You could also throw on Ableton's EQ right here. And if you notice, the way the EQ shape is kind of, let's put it after the EQ shape. Now, we have that shape right here of this EQ that's flat. So the most important thing with channel strip is utility, which is your gain, and you can make it a little wider. You can check the balance. Right? But we already have a balance knob over here because part of the channel strip is the actual channel. Now right here at the very end, right before it goes to the master, is your volume. This is your fader. Right? And then before the fader, you have your sends. All right? That's going to reverb. more reverb, compression, and probably more compression, right? The Lindell. Yep, it's a channel strip as well, right? So you have your preamp here, you have an EQ, and you have a compressor. And that's exactly what a lot of this is called the channel X, which is channel strip X, all right? In the other video, we were talking about the Schweppes omni-channel. And this Schweppes omni-channel right here is a channel strip. You start with the utility, which is the preamp, which is the gain, and you can saturate it, you can color it, right? And then it goes straight to the gate, which you can get that bleed out, and then immediately goes to a de-esser, which is kind of like a multi-dynamic EQ, so for pulling out the S's, too much S, too much sibilance, and pops. And then an EQ, very, very in-depth EQ, and then a compressor, which is after the EQ, very important. So for proper channel stripping, it's utility, gate, if needed, EQ, and then compression. So let's stick a compressor on here now. Right here. All right, so let's turn off this reverb. There we go. Now, if we stuck the compressor before the EQ, most likely we're going to have too much high end. Because compression kind of naturally enhances high end and the low end. Hear that? It's lower high end now. We can reduce it or turn up the high end before the EQ. And I like to do an EQ after as well. So we're shaping the sound is what we're doing with the channel strip. We're shaping the sound. A really big shaper of sound is the iZotope Multiband Transient Designer. Okay, so that's off. Open up the Transient Designer. Okay, we go to Transient, we turn it on, and we click Multiband. And now we have this middle is from 120 to 2000 hertz, and the top end is from 2000 to 20, and the bottom is from 20 to 120. So check this out. Oops. There we go. There, now we can hear it. That compressor was too loud. Okay, so let's just turn off. Yeah, so we've shaped the sound with EQ, okay? We like that shape. We can turn it up a little bit more. We have the fundamental hitting. Oh, okay, that's too much. Hear that? Turn it down. That's pretty good. I mean, that's plus 10 right there. You see that? That's a lot of gain. That's pretty good. So now let's go over to the Transient Designer. See how it's bringing up that mid punch? And then it's really bringing up the high end attack. So it's very important in creating EDM snares. This is an acoustic snare, and we kind of want to make it electronic. So that brings out the room sound or the body of the snare. Okay. Now, I pretty much only use the iZotope mainly for its Transient Designer. So this is a channel strip as well. A lot of these plugins are channel strips. So we have the overview, right? So it starts off with an equalizer, Transient Designer, then distortion, and then dynamics, which is compression. So it's the same array, it's the same signal flow. We start off, this one doesn't have a gain, but that's okay. It has an overview, and then it immediately goes to an EQ, which is right here. Then it goes to a distortion, which is going to add some excitements, add some tone, and then it's going to go to a compressor. So where we want to put distortion, if we want to use some overdrive, we're going to put it just after the EQ and maybe before the compressor. Now, a lot of times we want to put compression before the distortion because we want to really bring out the distortion. So whatever the compressor does, it's going to really exemplify that. And that's usually why we put it on the end. We shape the sound really nicely, and then we bring the sound up and we make it tighter with compression. We could do the opposite though. So we can go like this. This is, let's call this channel strip number 1, okay? So we have a utility, which is the gain. We have a gate. We have a couple different EQ options. We have a distortion option for color. We have a transient designer. Then we have a compressor. And then we have an EQ at the very end to maybe nip off or raise some low end, some high end, or still some mud, okay? Some residual mud. So now we're just going to take this channel strip, go to our user library. We're going to go to our masterclass racks and add this channel strip to our masterclass racks. Okay? All right. Peace.